What is really good? It's finally time for me to break down the main card for UFC Vegas 72. This is Song Yadong versus Simon. This card is just really wank on paper. I'm going to try to add some enthusiasm to this. It's not going to be easy. However, sometimes it's these sleeper cards that somehow turn out to be absolute bangers, so I'm hoping it's going to happen in this case. I really enjoy violence, and I'm going to tune in anyway, so I'm going to try not to complain too much. If it sucks, then at least we've got the Perry and Rockhold scrapping it out over at BKFC. That's due to create some banter regardless of the result. As always, like and subscribe. Hit me up on Twitter at BadMMAMath. Let's get this over with. Alright, so the Quinlan fight was finally confirmed over the last 24 hours. I didn't put this on the prelim breakdown because I wasn't sure it was going to happen, and I can be lazy as fuck sometimes. I don't know that much about Trey Waters, so I had to do a little bit of digging. This motherfucker fights at 170 and he's taller than John Jones. I seriously thought this was a misprint. What a weight bully cunt. He was impressive in his last fight, getting a brutal KO, and his only loss came against one of the Bonfim brothers, who are both absolute savages. I do not like the smell of this fight, I'm not gonna lie. This feels like a parlay destroyer in the making, and I'm not taking the bait, son. Both men have extensive amateur records, which is always a good sign for me. Both men have shown they can finish in a variety of ways. I'm just going to leave this one alone. I have a feeling Waters is going to cause a shock here. That reach advantage is going to be an issue. He's 6'5", and he's fighting at 170. Moving on. All right, I'm going to go with Marcus Rogerio. Waldo went to a decision with Chase Sherman, and Rogerio can wrestle. There's a risk that Waldo finds the chin, but with the level of competition he's faced and how shitty he looked against both Sherman and Vandera, 2 decisions against the worst of the worst in the division, I can't pick him against a man that has a clear avenue to exploit his holes, and I think Rogerio is going to take him down and violate his holes. His bum hole. Rogerio by decision, horrible fight. Next. Juicy J. This is a tough one. I picked him against Caceres and he got absolutely annihilated at the midpoint of the first round. I think it was a wheel kick to the head. Disgraceful finish. He swapped out wins and losses throughout his career with the consistency of a Lando Venata. Before his last loss, I would have confidently picked him here, but I don't know. I'm still going to take him, but I'm not betting on this either. Call me a pussy. I don't care. I've been making bank lately. I think this fight's going to be close. Padilla is clearly being given a chance as a Mexican fighter that is somewhat decent, and he's proven to be durable with some decent fights in his career. He fought Dan Ige like 5 years ago, went to a decision. I just think his timing in entering the UFC this time is bizarre. Erosa's loss to Pimlet, my favorite fighter of all time, makes me physically fucking ill. I think this is going to be a close decision. I've got no confidence. Next. Alright, I think Cody Brundage is terrible. He lost to William Knight, that idle coward, and the wins he does have, he mostly gets beaten up and then manages to pull a win out of his arsehole. Rodolfo has had some issues of his own. He lost to Chris Curtis most recently, and he lost to Fluffy Hernandez, who despite the ridiculous name, has turned out to actually be a pretty good fighter. The Curtis loss at least proved to me that he can manage his gas tank a little bit better, which does really suck. His gas tank is terrible. I think this fight is pretty even standing, and while Rodolfo's takedowns are assumed to be good, they aren't really, but if he does get it to the ground, he's more of a threat there as long as he doesn't blow his load and stays patient, and I think he's going to do that here. I'm picking him mostly because I think Brundage is not really UFC caliber, and Rodolfo has at least shown some improvement in the fights he has had in the UFC. I think Rodolfo is going to get a finish in this one. I'm not going to say when. Should be a decent little scrap. Next. Alright, the odds here are a straight up disrespect. Despite Michel looking like an unathletic mess of a man, he does have decent hands and he's capable of getting a KO. Borralho is just a much better grappler, and I think if he gets this to the ground, he's going to win the fight there. Mikel lost to OSP and Crute beat him quite easily, but Cow is hungry and vicious right now. I just think he's also the more accurate striker, and I think he's going to use his volume to gain some respect, then find a double leg against a taller opponent that doesn't have much once it gets on the ground. I think he's going to gas Oleksiejczuk out. drain his ability to land power shots. I don't think Oleksiejczuk is a terrible dog by any means, but I just think Borralho is a different source, and he has momentum and he's got confidence going into this. Alright, this wasn't on the card a week ago. Imagine that. This is the only good fight on the card, and it really is a great one. A lot of money has actually come in on Yadong, evening the odds. A week ago, he was quite a sizable underdog. My issue, though, is kind of a simple one. Song basically has built momentum by beating up a washed Marias. He beat Julio Arce, fine. He also beat Casey Kenny, who got totally fraud checked. He also lost to Kyler Phillips, though. So I'm going to go against everyone here, and I'm going to take Simon. Corey had some success in the takedowns against Yadong, and I just think Simon's at another level in this regard. I think Song will be better on the feet, but the Simon's going to have enough there to gain some respect and set up some of his takedowns. Song really is strong, but I think Simon is just a different beast on the ground. This really is a coin toss though, and the majority of people are picking Yadong. I just think Simon has looked better and better every time I've seen him, and he's entering that prime age, you know, that age of 30 at this stage of his career. I think he's entering the peak, and I still think Yadong's got some growing to do. This is going to be a little bit controversial, but I also think that Team Alpha Male often get things tactically wrong at times, and I don't trust the corner work. I'm picking Simon to get a sub win here. I reckon in the second or third, and I don't think you're going to find anyone who's making this pick, so it is a risky one. Alright, just a reminder to those who are coming in for the first time, I do have an overall record this year of 95 and 46, which is respectable. I do pick a lot of underdogs. And that took my record down from a very stable 70% for the last few months down to 67%. Yeah, not really looking forward to this card much, but at least we've got BKFC, and yeah, MMA is MMA. It should be a good night one way or another. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you on the weekend. Take it easy.